One of the questions that I get the most often when it comes to SEO, and honestly one of the myths that I have to debunk the most, is whether or not your website has to be on WordPress for Google to want to share it. Now, it makes sense that people think that WordPress is the best option because 35% of the internet is built on WordPress. So you're probably going to Google a lot and visiting sites that are built on WordPress. There's a precedent here that lots and lots of popular, well SEO'd sites are already on WordPress. But that doesn't mean that a site that isn't built on WordPress will perform any worse. I have a secret for you. Google doesn't care what platform you're on. Google doesn't care if you're on WordPress or Squarespace or Kartra or Kajabi or Wix or Weebly or something that your nephew built in his basement. Google does not care where you log in to update your website. But there are 5 things that Google does care about, regardless of the platform that you're using for your website. So I'm going to share those with you here, and we're going to talk about how to make sure that there are the 5 things that Google cares about matter on your site, whether you're on WordPress or not. Hi, I'm Meg Casebolt, the founder of Love It First Search, where we help online entrepreneurs to show up in search results and then turn those new readers into leads, subscribers, and sales. I work with a lot of not so tech comfortable entrepreneurs, people who don't necessarily want to learn all the ins and outs of how to update all their WordPress plugins or how to make sure that things are working perfectly. And so there's some anxiety that happens in my students and my clients around making sure that they're doing it all and doing it the best that they can. So in this video, I'm going to give you some criteria to think about when you are considering whether you want to choose WordPress or Squarespace or Shopify or some other option around the internet. Those are my top 3, are WordPress, Squarespace, and Shopify, but there are definitely some other great options out there. Even if you have a platform that supposedly does all the SEO things for you, there are still some things that you're going to want to consider to make sure that you're optimizing your site to the best of your ability. So here we go. Number 1, your website has to be mobile friendly. It has to look good on a cell phone and on a tablet. The world is moving so that more and more people every day are spending more time on their phones. So if your website looks like crap when you go on a mobile phone, Google won't share it anymore. Google actually looks at the mobile version of your website first before it takes any looks at the desktop version. So make sure that your website's mobile friendly so that way it will send traffic to you. Number 2 is the time it takes for your page to load. People are going to Google and then they're clicking through to a second page. And if that page takes more than 2 or 3 seconds to load up, it makes Google look bad, and Google doesn't want to look bad. Google wants people to keep coming back to get more search results from them. So making sure that your website loads quickly. If you're on a more customizable platform like WordPress, you can use specific plugins to decrease your image file size or make sure that your page is loading quickly and your caching is all set up. If you're on one of those other platforms I mentioned that's more of a page builder software, that might not be in your control. So you want to make sure when you're choosing the platform that you're working on, again, whether that's Wix or Shopify or any of the platforms out there, you want to make sure that your page does load quickly and check in with your software to see if there are things that you can do to increase your page speed load time. Number 3 is your site security, or what's called your SSL certificate. How do you know if your website has an SSL certificate? The easiest way is to go look at the top of your browser, and when you see the domain listed in your browser window, check and see if it has a little padlock that's closed next to your domain. If it has a closed padlock and if it starts with HTTPS, not HTTP, then you're probably in good shape. There's a really good chance that you have an SSL on your site, and Google will appreciate that and be much more likely to send people to your site because it's less likely to be hacked. If you don't have an SSL certificate, if you just have the open padlock and the HTTP without the S, then reach out to your internet service provider or reach out to the people who are hosting your website and see if you can get that security installed. The 4th thing that Google cares about is whether you have a ton of broken links on on your website. Now, this may be because you've moved things around on your own website and haven't updated those links with 301 redirects, or it could be that you've linked out to other people's websites and they have moved things on their website without 301 redirects. So if you have a bunch of broken links on your site, it makes it look like you haven't looked at things in a while and you haven't been maintaining things on your website. So with that in mind, go to a website like deadlinkchecker.com and you can look and see exactly how many broken links or 404 errors are on your website, and then go through and update those manually. And the fifth thing that Google looks at is your content tags. If you don't tell Google what the most important information is on your site or where to find that information, then it won't do a very good job of sharing what it is that you are trying to talk about. So I have an entire video all about where to put the information on your website, which in SEO speak is called on-page optimization. So go check out that video if you're wondering where you can put keywords and how you can make it clear to Google exactly what your website is trying to be found for. So whether your website is on WordPress or not doesn't matter. There's plenty of research out there trying to figure out if WordPress is the best option for SEO. And when the researchers go and look at the data, what they discover is that people who are on WordPress are more likely to do the things that are required for SEO. They're more likely to go in and add their content tags, to check their broken links, to take care of those things that are important to Google. So it's not necessarily that WordPress is the solution, it's that consistency is the solution. It's not WordPress that is necessarily the end-all be-all of places to build your website. It's more about taking care of what you have and really maintaining what you have and getting all of the information into the right places. It might be slightly easier on WordPress because there are specific plugins you can use, whereas on other platforms you have to seek out the places to put that information. But research has not shown conclusively that WordPress is the best solution for SEO. Choosing a platform that takes care of that stuff for you may load just a teensy bit slower than what you would be able to get if you had a perfectly optimized WordPress site. But on the other hand, a lot of the stuff's taken care of for you and it's so much less of a headache. So if you don't want to learn this, I give you full permission to choose a different page builder site like Squarespace or Shopify. And if you choose to do that, just make sure that all of these things are taken care of. Double check your security, double check your mobile friendliness, make sure things are loading quickly, and no matter what platform you're on, they can't take care of your content for you. They can't double check your broken links. So even if you have a site that says that it has all these built-in SEO features, please go in, add your SEO titles, add your alt text, add your subheadings, wherever you need to put information, double check your broken links, whether they're internal or external. That is on you regardless of what platform you are on. So those are the 5 things that Google cares about when it's looking at your website. It's not necessarily the platform that it's built on or where it's hosted. It's about how well it performs. If you want more help with figuring out whether or not your website's performing up to speed, definitely check out the blog post that I'll link in the description below, where I'll explain in more detail how you can check your mobile friendliness, your page load speed, your security. I'll go through different tools that you can use for all of those places. And if you like this video, make sure to like it, subscribe, and come back next week when I'll have more SEO tips for you. Bye.